Kieran had seen many worlds in his life as a warrior. He had faced harsh deserts, endless oceans, and frozen plains, but nothing had prepared him for Jaren. The planet was alive with forests that glowed faintly under the twin moons. Strange birds sang melodies that seemed to echo inside his mind, and trees stretched higher than the tallest mountains he had ever climbed. He felt both awe and caution. Kieran knew that beauty often hid danger. He walked carefully among the thick ferns and glowing flowers. His mission was simple: retrieve a rare energy crystal that could power his home planet's cities. But simple missions often turned into challenges beyond imagination. He scanned the forest with trained eyes, noting shadows that moved too quickly and sounds that seemed unnatural. The air smelled fresh but had a metallic edge, like rain before a storm. After hours of walking, Kieran noticed a soft groaning sound. At first, he thought it was the wind, but it repeated, low and weak. He crouched behind a giant fern and listened. The sound was deliberate, desperate, human in emotion even though it was clearly alien. Kieran's heart tightened. Someone was in trouble. He followed the noise carefully, keeping low and moving silently. Finally, he came to a clearing, and what he saw stopped him for a moment. A young alien lay on the ground, her skin a soft lavender color. Her eyes were large, glimmering, and filled with pain. She wore a silver dress that was torn and bloodied. Kieran noticed a deep wound on her side, black blood leaking into the soil around her. Broken trees and scorch marks told the story of a violent attack. Kieran stepped forward slowly. "Are you hurt badly?" he asked in the universal tongue, which every interstellar traveler learned to communicate. The alien looked at him with fear and surprise. She tried to speak but could only whisper. "I'm Amara," she managed. Kieran understood immediately. She was a princess, a ruler's child. He knew this by the insignia on her dress, a small emblem of her planet's ruling clan. Kieran felt a surge of responsibility. He had traveled alone for many missions, but he had never hesitated to help someone in need. "Do not worry," Kieran said. "I will help you. Can you move?" Amara tried but collapsed again. Kieran rushed to her side and lifted her carefully. She was surprisingly light, almost fragile. He scanned the area and noticed no immediate enemies, but the forest was dense, and danger could strike at any moment. He needed to find shelter quickly. Kieran carried her to a small cave hidden behind thick vines. Inside, the air was cooler, and the faint glow of crystals gave the place a soft light. He laid her down gently. Amara's breathing was shallow. Kieran's trained eyes caught something alarming. The wound was spreading fast, and her skin was turning pale. He knew that without immediate action, she would not survive. He took out his medical kit, but even advanced human medicine could not heal her completely. He remembered what he had read about Jaren's people. They had a unique biology. A life-threatening toxin could only be stopped by merging with compatible blood. Kieran hesitated. Sharing his blood with a stranger, an alien, was dangerous. But he looked at her face, calm yet filled with pain, and he knew there was no other choice. "I have to help you," he whispered. He carefully made a small cut on his arm and let his blood mix with hers. As it happened, a strange warmth spread between them. Kieran felt his mind connect with hers, a faint pulse of awareness that was not entirely his own. He saw flashes of her memories, a palace under attack, people running, cries of fear, and finally, her fall in the forest. Amara's eyes widened as she felt the warmth. She tried to speak but could only manage a small sound. Kieran encouraged her, talking softly to keep her conscious. Time seemed to stretch. The forest outside was silent, as if it too was watching. After what felt like hours, her breathing steadied. Kieran sat back, exhausted but relieved. He noticed her wounds beginning to heal faster than normal. Something remarkable had happened. His blood had not just healed her. It had changed something inside her. He could feel a strange bond forming, a connection that neither could explain. "Why did you help me?" Amara finally whispered. Her voice was soft but full of curiosity. Kieran smiled faintly, because it was the right thing to do. No one should die when they can be saved. We may come from different worlds, but life is precious everywhere. Amara studied him with wonder. She could feel his strength, his courage, and now part of herself seemed linked to it. She realized that this human warrior was unlike anyone she had ever met, not because he was strong or skilled, but because he had the heart to risk his life for another. Karen looked at her with concern. "You are not out of danger yet. We need to get you to a safe place, and we must understand what this bond between us means. It is unusual, but it has given you life." Amara nodded, trying to sit up slowly. Her strength returned. She touched her side and felt no pain. Karen could see the relief in her large, expressive eyes. She smiled faintly, a gesture of gratitude and trust. Outside, the forest remained quiet, but Karen knew that their time of peace might be short. Whoever had attacked her once could come again, but for now, he focused on keeping her alive. Together, they would face whatever challenges lay ahead. As Karen prepared to explore the cave for supplies, he could not shake the feeling that this encounter was only the beginning. Something beyond reason had started the moment their blood connected. Both human and alien had changed in ways they could not yet understand. Karen's mission had shifted. It was no longer just about a crystal. It was about survival, unity, and perhaps something far greater than either of them could imagine. The forest whispered around them, alive with unseen life. Karen sat beside Amara, watching her recover, feeling the strange pulse that connected them. He did not know what the future held, but he knew one thing for certain. He would protect her. No matter the cost, the journey on Jaren had begun, and it promised to be unlike anything he had ever faced before. The cave was quiet now, filled with the soft glow of crystals embedded in the walls. Karen watched Amara closely. She had recovered enough to sit up, but the faint pulse of her heartbeat told him she was still fragile. Her lavender skin glimmered faintly in the light, and her large eyes followed his every movement. There was a curiosity in her gaze, as if she was trying to understand not just what had happened, but why. Karen had faced dangerous creatures and hostile planets before, but he had never encountered anything like this. The bond formed by sharing his blood with Amara was unlike anything he had experienced. He could feel her emotions, faint but clear, fear, hope, and a spark of gratitude. It was strange, yet comforting. "We need to talk," Karen said softly, "about what happened, about what we did." Amara nodded slowly. "I felt warmth, safety. It was as if your strength became part of me." Her voice was calm, but a shadow of concern lingered. Karen studied her. "This bond is unusual. On your planet, I know blood can save lives, but this is different. I can feel your thoughts at times, and you can feel mine. We may have merged in ways we do not fully understand." Amara's eyes widened. "Merged? You mean connected?" "Yes," Karen replied. "It is not just healing. Something deeper has begun. I do not know the limits, but we need to be careful." She looked down at her hands. "I have never felt this way before. Strong, yet aware of another. It is strange, but not unpleasant." Karen nodded. "It is strange for both of us, but we must decide what to do next. Your people are in danger. Whoever attacked you may return. You cannot survive alone, and I cannot leave you vulnerable." Amara considered this. "You risked your life for me. Why?" Karen shrugged. "Because it was the right thing to do. I have seen too much death. I cannot ignore someone in need, especially not you." For a moment, silence filled the cave. The only sounds were the faint rustle of leaves outside and the soft glow of the crystals. Karen knew that the time for hesitation was over. They had to act. "We need to understand the bond," he said finally. "It could be dangerous if we are not careful, but it could also save you again if danger comes." Amara nodded. "I feel stronger than before. I can move without pain, and the wound has vanished. I feel alive. But I do not understand why." Karen reached out and placed a hand on her shoulder. "It is your biology reacting to my blood. It is rare, but not impossible. Your species has healing abilities, but combined with human traits, it creates something new." Amara looked at him in wonder. "Something new?" "Yes," Karen replied. I believe it has given you abilities beyond what your people thought possible. You may be able to fight, to defend yourself, to survive situations that would have ended you before. Her eyes lit with determination. Then I must learn. I cannot rely on anyone else to protect me. I must be strong for my people. Kieran smiled faintly. I will help you, but you must understand this bond is a responsibility. It connects us. We will feel each other's pain, our fatigue, and our thoughts. We must trust one another completely. Amara took a deep breath. I trust you, Kieran. I do not know why, but I do. Kieran felt a sense of relief. Trust was the foundation of survival, especially in a world like Jaren. Good. Then we begin now. You must learn to control this new strength. We will start slowly. For the next hours, Kieran guided Amara through simple exercises. He watched as she lifted stones heavier than she should have been able to move. She ran faster than she had before, her reflexes sharp and precise. With each success, the bond between them strengthened, though it remained mysterious. Kieran could feel her focus, her determination, and her fear fading as confidence grew. You are learning quickly, Kieran said. Your body adapts faster than I expected. Amara smiled. A rare, genuine smile. I feel powerful, yet safe. Your presence, it gives me courage. Kieran nodded. We must also prepare for threats. Whoever attacked you once will not stop. They may return, and we must be ready to face them together. Amara's expression hardened. Then we will face them. I will not let my people suffer. Because I was weak, Kieran felt pride. Courage was universal, and Amara had it in abundance. Good. But courage alone is not enough. We must strategize, understand the forest, and anticipate our enemy's moves. He spent the next few hours showing her how to move silently, how to track signs of danger, and how to use the environment to their advantage. Amara absorbed everything, eagerly, her mind quick and observant. Kieran was impressed by her adaptability. The bond allowed him to sense her thought process, making their communication seamless. As night fell, the forest came alive with new sounds. Strange creatures moved among the trees, glowing eyes observing from a distance. Kieran lit a small fire near the cave entrance, enough to provide light but not to draw attention. Amara sat beside him, watching the flames. I have questions, she said quietly. About you, about humans. Why do you help strangers so easily? Kieran thought for a moment. We do it because it is the right thing. Every life has value. Every person has potential. I have learned that strength is measured, not by power alone, but by what we are willing to do to protect others. Amara nodded, absorbing his words. She could feel the truth in them, not just in his voice, but in the bond that connected them. Kieran looked at the stars visible through the cave opening. Tomorrow, we move deeper into the forest. We find safe ground and gather resources. We must be ready for anything. Your bond with me has given you life, but it also makes you a target. Others will want to exploit this power. Amara's eyes shone with resolve. Then we will face them, together. Kieran placed a hand over hers. Together, the fire crackled between them, a small island of warmth in the alien night. Outside, the forest was vast and full of unseen threats, but inside, trust and courage had formed a stronger bond. They were no longer just a warrior and a princess. They were partners, linked by more than chance, more than duty. As the night deepened, Kieran remained alert, keeping watch. He knew the forest held many secrets, some friendly, some deadly. But with Amara by his side, and with their bond strengthened, he felt a new kind of confidence. They had survived the first step, and now the true journey was about to begin. Kieran realized that the decision to share his blood had changed everything. It had saved a life, created a connection, and unlocked potential beyond imagination. What lay ahead was uncertain, but he was ready. They would face it together, learning, growing, and proving that courage and unity could overcome even the greatest challenges. The forest whispered around them, and the night held its breath. Tomorrow, the real adventure would begin. The first rays of Jaren's twin suns pierced through the forest canopy, casting a warm, golden light over the towering trees. Kieran awoke first, sitting quietly near the cave entrance. The forest was alive with movement, birds calling to one another, and distant rustling hinting at creatures moving in the underbrush. He felt a faint pulse from Amara, a sign that the bond between them had strengthened overnight. It was subtle, but it made him alert, aware of her presence even without looking directly at her. Amara emerged from the cave moments later, her lavender skin glimmering softly in the sunlight. Her movements were fluid, confident, and for the first time, she seemed completely at ease. Kieran noticed how she stretched her arms and took a deep breath, as if testing her newfound strength. "You slept well?" Kieran asked. Amara smiled faintly. "Better than I expected. The forest feels different today." "I feel different," Kieran nodded. "The bond is stabilizing. Your body is adjusting to the fusion with my blood. That is why you feel stronger and more aware." Amara studied her hands. "I can sense the wind, the trees, even the small creatures moving under the leaves. It is strange, but I feel connected to everything around me." Kieran was impressed. "That is not just strength. That is awareness. Your senses are heightened. You can react faster, move quicker, and understand your environment in ways others cannot. But you must control it, otherwise it could overwhelm you." Amara's eyes sparkled with curiosity and determination. "Then teach me. I want to control it." For the next several hours, Kieran guided Amara through exercises designed to test her speed, strength, and awareness. They ran through the forest, leaped over streams, and practiced moving silently among the undergrowth. Amara's movements were precise and confident, her reflexes faster than Kieran had expected. At times, their bond allowed them to anticipate each other's actions instinctively. During a break, Kieran observed her closely. "You are adapting quickly, faster than I imagined. Your species already has natural resilience, but combined with human traits, you are exceptional." Amara looked puzzled. "Exceptional? Yes." Kieran replied. "This fusion of our abilities has created something unique. You can think faster, react faster, and even sense threats before they appear. But it also links you to me. I can feel your fatigue and your focus. You can feel mine." Amara nodded thoughtfully. "It is strange to feel another so clearly. I can feel your determination, your calmness, even your caution. It is as if we are working as one." Kieran smiled faintly. "Exactly. That is both a strength and a responsibility. Together, we can face challenges no one else could survive, but we must remain focused." The forest grew denser as they ventured further. Strange sounds echoed from every direction. Kieran's instincts were alert, but he noticed that Amara reacted instantly to threats he hadn't even identified yet. She moved with grace, dodging small branches and leaping over roots with perfect timing. Her eyes scanned the surroundings constantly, noting subtle changes in the environment. Suddenly, a sharp cry pierced the air. Kieran froze and looked toward the sound. A small creature, about the size of a human, was struggling in a trap, tangled in vines and injured. Kieran approached cautiously, but Amara stepped forward first, her movements confident and precise. "I can help it," she said softly. "Let me try." Before Kieran could respond, she cut through the vines with a sharp rock, freeing the creature. Its eyes met hers, and instead of fleeing, it bowed slightly, as if acknowledging her kindness and courage. Kieran watched, amazed. She was not just strong. She inspired trust and respect even from the wildlife. "You are remarkable," Kieran said quietly. "Even in your first day of adaptation, you show courage and empathy." Amara blushed slightly. "I did not do it for praise. I did it because I could, because it was the right thing to do." Kieran nodded approvingly. "That is why you will succeed. Strength alone does not define a warrior. Heart, courage, and wisdom do." As the day went on, they encountered signs of danger, broken branches, scorch marks, and footprints too large to belong to normal animals. Kieran's instincts told him that the ambushers who had attacked Amara might be near. The bond between them gave him an advantage. He could sense her emotions subtly, detect tension in her mind, and anticipate reactions. Amara, in turn, moved with an awareness that allowed her to avoid pitfalls and notice hidden threats. By afternoon, they reached a small clearing with a natural spring. The water was clear and fresh, and Kieran allowed them both to rest. He filled a small container with water and handed it to Amara. "Drink carefully," he said. "We need to stay strong." Amara drank, then looked at him seriously. "Kieran, do you think they will come back? The ones who attacked me?" Kieran's expression hardened. "Yes, they will. But we are ready. You and I together, we are stronger than anything they faced before. This bond has changed everything. We will not just survive. We will fight and protect what is important." Amara nodded, her eyes filled with determination. "Then I will not fear. I will use this strength to defend my people, to protect this planet, and to honor the choice you made to save me." Kieran smiled faintly. "That is all I ask. Courage, focus, and trust. Everything else will follow." As the sun began to set, painting the forest in shades of orange and purple, Kieran and Amara prepared a small camp. The bond between them was stronger now than ever. They could feel each other's thoughts faintly, sense each other's emotions, and anticipate each other's actions. It was an unexplainable connection, but one that gave them an undeniable advantage. The night brought new sounds and new challenges. Creatures moved close to their camp, curious but cautious. Kieran remained vigilant, while Amara explored the limits of her new abilities. She could sense the smallest movements in the shadows, feel shifts in the wind, and detect dangers even before they became visible. Kieran watched her, impressed. "You are ready," he said quietly to himself, "ready to face whatever comes next." Amara noticed his gaze and smiled. "Then we face it together." Kieran nodded. "Together." The stars appeared above, twinkling through the canopy. Kieran felt a calm resolve settle over him. The bond between human and alien, warrior and princess, was more than survival. It was the beginning of something extraordinary. They had gained strength, awareness, and courage beyond anything they had known. But the challenges ahead would test every skill, every instinct, and every ounce of their connection. The forest whispered around them, and the night seemed alive with anticipation. Kieran and Amara sat together, ready to face the dangers of Jaren, knowing that their bond made them stronger, faster, and wiser. The first day of transformation had ended, but the journey had only just begun. They would face threats, test limits, and discover abilities that defied expectation. And through it all, they would remain united, guided by trust, courage, and the bond forged by a single, selfless act of humanity. The morning sun rose over Jaren, spilling light across the dense forest. Kieran and Amara had spent the night resting, but sleep had been short. Every rustle, every distant sound of the forest put them on alert. Kieran had taught Amara well, but the bond between them had heightened her awareness. Together, they could sense the smallest disturbance, the faintest movement, and the subtle shift of the wind. "This forest is alive," Amara said, scanning the shadows between the trees. "I feel it watching us." Kieran nodded. "It is. Every creature, every movement, tells a story. You have learned to read it, even faster than I did when I first came here." Amara smiled faintly. "Then we are ready for anything." Kieran's expression grew serious. "Almost, but I know they will return. The ones who attacked you will not forget. They want control, and you represent a power they cannot ignore." They moved cautiously through the forest, their bond making every step synchronized. Amara's senses guided them past dangerous plants and hidden pits, while Kieran's experience helped them avoid large predators. The forest seemed more alive than ever, as if it recognized their connection and watched over them. Hours passed, the sun climbed higher, and the forest grew hotter. Kieran scanned the area for signs of danger. The ground showed tracks, deep footprints, unlike anything native to Jaren. They had been here recently, and the patterns suggested careful planning. Kieran crouched and studied the marks. "They are close," he whispered. "We need to find higher ground to see them before they see us." Amara nodded. She moved ahead, silently, her heightened senses detecting subtle vibrations in the soil. Kieran followed, impressed by her skill and awareness. Together, They reached a small hill overlooking a clearing. The view was clear. A group of armored aliens, 12 in total, were moving through the forest below. They carried energy weapons and scanning devices, clearly searching for something or someone. They found us, Karen said quietly. Prepare yourself. Amra's eyes narrowed. I am ready. Let them come. The first encounter was sudden. A scout from the group broke from the trees. Charging directly toward them, Karen reacted. Instantly, moving in front of Amara and deflecting the attack with his combat skill. Amara, however, did not hesitate. Her reflexes were faster than Karen had expected. She sidestepped the attacker, using her enhanced awareness to anticipate his movements. With a quick motion, she disarmed him and pushed him back, stunning him without serious injury. Karen nodded approvingly. Excellent. Keep your focus. More attackers appeared, moving with precision. They were not mindless. They had strategy, using the terrain to their advantage. Karen and Amar responded as one. The bond between them allowed seamless communication without words. When Karen sensed an attack from the left, Amar reacted instantly, blocking and countering. When she noticed an enemy aiming from above, Karen moved to protect her. The battle was intense but controlled. Karen and Amara's combined abilities allowed them to outmaneuver the attackers, using the environment to their advantage. Trees were pushed over, creating barriers. Rocks were used to trip enemies. Amara's enhanced strength and speed were perfectly complemented by Karen's experience and tactical thinking. During a brief pause in the fight, Karen noticed something unusual. One of the attackers hesitated, watching Amara closely. Karen's instincts told him this individual was different, more cautious, more aware. That one, he whispered to Amara. He is a leader. Watch him carefully. He will try to divide us. Amara focused on the target, her enhanced senses detecting subtle shifts in the enemy's stance. I see him. We cannot let him separate us. Karen nodded. Together, they coordinated a plan. Amara moved swiftly to distract the leader, drawing his attention, while Karen used the opportunity to disable the others. Their teamwork was precise, their bond making every action almost instinctive. After several minutes, the attackers began to retreat, realizing they were outmatched. The leader shouted orders, but the connection between Karen and Amara allowed them to anticipate each move, countering each strategy with perfect timing. Eventually, the enemy withdrew, leaving the forest quiet once more. Karen lowered his weapon and turned to Amara. You did well. Better than I could have hoped. Amara's chest rose and fell rapidly, but her eyes were bright. I felt your strength beside me. I could see what you wanted me to do. Together, we were unstoppable. Karen smiled faintly. Exactly. That is the bond at work. It is more than survival. It is connection, coordination, and trust. We can do what no one else can. As they caught their breath, Karen looked around the clearing. The forest had been disturbed, but it remained alive. He could feel the subtle vibrations, the energy of the land, reacting to the presence of humans and aliens united. We cannot stay here long, Karen said. They will regroup and come back. We need a safer location, one we can defend. Amara nodded. I trust you to lead. I will follow. And together we will be ready. Karen felt pride and determination. Amara had not only survived her first real battle, but had thrived. The bond between them had allowed them to anticipate and counter threats that would have overwhelmed ordinary beings. Her courage, combined with his experience, made them a formidable team. They moved deeper into the forest, careful to avoid leaving tracks. Karen explained the importance of camouflage, of blending with the environment, and Amara absorbed every detail with remarkable focus. The forest seemed less threatening now, as if it recognized their strength and their unity. By evening, they reached a small plateau overlooking a river. The location was ideal. High ground, clear visibility, and natural barriers to slow any attackers. Karen set up a temporary camp while Amara scouted nearby. She returned quickly, her eyes shining with excitement. This place will work. We can defend it and use the river as a barrier. Karen nodded. Good. We will rest here, regain strength, and plan our next steps. The attackers will not give up easily. but we are ready. As night fell, the forest became alive with nocturnal creatures. Kieran and Amara remained vigilant, their senses attuned to every movement. The bond between them continued to strengthen, each pulse of awareness providing insight, courage, and understanding. Kieran knew that the battles ahead would test them further, but today had proven something important. They were capable of more than either had imagined. Together, they could face any threat, overcome any challenge, and protect what mattered most. The forest whispered around them, alive with unseen energy. Kieran and Amara sat together, ready for whatever came next, united by courage, trust, and a bond that had transformed them beyond ordinary limits. The first real battle had ended, but the war for survival and the protection of Jaren was only beginning. The morning mist hovered over the forest as Kieran and Amara prepared to leave their plateau. The events of the previous day weighed heavily on their minds. Though they had won their first real battle, Kieran knew the enemy was organized and would not give up. Amara, meanwhile, seemed more confident, her connection to Kieran's blood allowing her to feel strength and clarity beyond her species' normal limits. We need to understand them, Kieran said quietly as they moved through the dense forest. The attackers are not random. They are strategic, coordinated, and they have knowledge about your people. There's more to this than a simple attack. Amara's eyes narrowed. Then we find out. I want to know who they are and why they came for me. Kieran nodded. Exactly. Information is as important as strength. We cannot fight blindly. They moved cautiously, following faint trails in the soil, looking for signs that could reveal the enemy's base. Hours passed, the forest thickening. Around them, every step required careful attention. The bond between them enhanced their abilities further. Kieran could sense subtle shifts in the environment, while Amara detected vibrations and sounds imperceptible to most beings. Finally, they reached a hidden valley, shielded by massive rock formations. Smoke rose faintly in the distance, and the faint hum of machinery indicated an encampment. Kieran and Amara crouched behind a rocky outcrop, observing. Dozens of armored aliens were moving in formation, guarding a central structure that appeared to be both a command post and a research facility. They are well organized, Kieran whispered, and they are studying something inside that building. Whatever it is important to them. Amara leaned closer, her voice quiet but firm. We need to know. If they attack again, we cannot be caught off guard. I must understand their purpose. Kieran nodded, agreed. We need to get closer without being seen. Using their combined skills, they moved silently toward the facility. The bond between them allowed seamless coordination. Kieran's experience and stealth guided their movements, while Amara's heightened awareness warned them of every patrol, every motion sensor, every hidden threat. When they reached the edge of the camp, they observed the central building more clearly. Inside, they could see figures working with advanced technology, analyzing specimens and data. One object drew their attention, a large container glowing with an energy unfamiliar to Kieran. He sensed its power, unlike anything he had encountered before. They are studying this energy, Kieran said softly. It must be why they attacked you. It is connected to your species, Amara. This energy, it reacts to your biology. And now, with our bond, it may be even more significant. Amara's eyes widened. You mean, they want to control it? Use it against us? Kieran nodded grimly. Exactly. They see your potential, and they want to exploit it. That is why you are a target. That is why they attacked. Amara clenched her fists. Then we cannot let them. We must stop them from harming anyone else. Kieran looked at her, proud of her resolve. We will. But we must understand the energy first. We must know how it works and how our bond affects it. Only then can we defend ourselves fully. They observed for hours, learning patterns, movements, and schedules. Kieran noticed that the attackers relied heavily on technology, but their strategy also included psychological tactics, trying to isolate and intimidate. Amara, however, was not intimidated. The bond with Kieran gave her insight, clarity, and courage. She could anticipate movements, understand intent, and sense danger before it became immediate. As they studied the facility, something unexpected happened. The energy in the container reacted to Amara's presence. It pulsed, brightening and spreading warmth throughout the room. Karen noticed immediately. The energy, it responds to her, and to us, together. That is why the attackers want her alive. She is more than a princess. She is the key to something powerful. Amara looked at him, realization dawning. Then the bond between us, it is not just healing. It is amplifying this energy. Our connection creates something beyond normal limits. Karen nodded slowly. Yes, that is why we must protect it, understand it, and use it wisely. This is bigger than just survival. This could change the balance of power on Jaren, and possibly beyond. Amara's gaze hardened. Then we will not fail. Whatever it takes, we will protect it and ourselves. We will show them that courage and unity are stronger than force. Alone, Karen smiled faintly. Exactly. That is the human way. And now, it seems, the bond between human and alien shows the potential of cooperation. Together, we can surpass what either of us could achieve alone. They returned to their temporary camp, careful to remain undetected. Kieran began explaining what he had observed about the energy, and how their bond might interact with it. Amara listened intently, absorbing every detail. Her mind was sharp, her understanding growing faster than Kieran expected. The attackers underestimated us. He said quietly, they do not understand the bond, the connection, or the courage we share. That is our advantage. They rely on technology and brute force. We have strategy, unity, and something far beyond their understanding. Amara nodded. Then we will prepare. We will strengthen our bond, control our abilities, and ensure that we can face them if they return. Karen placed a hand on her shoulder. We will. And we will not just defend ourselves. We will show that life, courage, and selflessness can overcome even the most calculated threats. That is the revelation we carry. Strength comes not from weapons alone, but from unity and heart. As night fell, the forest came alive with sounds once more. Kieran and Amara remained vigilant, their bond keeping them aware of every movement, every shift in the air. They discussed strategies, practiced coordination, and strengthened the connection that had already proven vital. For the first time, they understood the true potential of their bond. It was not just survival, it was transformation. Together, they could change outcomes, inspire others, and face enemies far stronger and better equipped. The attackers would return, but now Kieran and Amara were prepared, informed, and connected in ways that gave them a decisive advantage. The night passed quietly. Filled with anticipation, Kieran watched Amara as she rested, her breathing calm, and even he felt the bond, the pulse of energy, and the promise of strength that had emerged from their connection. Together, they were no longer just a warrior and a princess. They were a team, a force capable of challenging destiny itself. And as the stars shone above Jaren, Kieran knew that the revelation they had discovered the true power of their bond, and the energy it amplified would guide them in the battles ahead. The journey was far from over, but they were ready to face it with courage, strategy, and unity. The forest whispered around them, alive with unseen energy, as if acknowledging the extraordinary bond between human and alien. Together, they had discovered the truth, and together, they would use it to protect life, challenge enemies, and prove that strength born of heart and connection could surpass all reason. The morning sun shone gently over the forests of Jaren, painting the leaves with gold and green. Kieran and Amara moved carefully through the trees, following the hidden paths Kieran had memorized from his previous journey. After discovering the enemy's energy operation and realizing the true potential of their bond, their mission had grown. They were no longer just surviving. They were preparing to protect Jaren and unite its scattered inhabitants. Amara's steps were confident, her movements precise and alert. The bond between her and Kieran had strengthened even more. She could sense his intentions and thoughts clearly, while he could feel her emotions and reactions. This connection gave them an advantage unlike anything either had known. "We need allies," Kieran said quietly, breaking the silence as they moved through a dense section of forest. "The attackers will not stop. We cannot defend this planet alone. Amara nodded, her eyes scanning the surroundings. Then we find them. The clans of Jaren may not trust one another, but if we can show them strength and unity, they will join us. Karen smiled faintly. Exactly. But we must be careful. Trust must be earned. And some clans may be suspicious of outsiders. We have to show courage, wisdom, and integrity. Their first destination was a small settlement hidden among the high cliffs. It was home to the River Clan, known for their agility and resourcefulness. The path was treacherous, but Amara moved confidently, her heightened awareness detecting every loose rock and unstable path. Karen followed closely, impressed by her precision and calm. When they reached the settlement, the River Clan's leader, a tall figure with shimmering blue markings, approached them. His eyes were cautious. But Amara stepped forward and bowed respectfully. "I'm Amara," she said firmly. "Princess of Jaren. I come with a human warrior, Karen. We seek unity, to protect our people from a dangerous threat. Together, we can ensure the survival of all clans." The leader studied her carefully. "Why should we trust a human? And why should we follow a princess whose people are already scattered?" Karen stepped forward, his voice calm but confident. "Because we do not ask for blind loyalty. We ask for reason. The enemy is powerful, organized, and will strike again. Alone, you may survive the first wave, but together, you will stand a chance to protect your homes, families, and future." Amara is not asking for submission. She is asking for cooperation. "And I am here to support her in that mission," Amara added, her voice steady. "The bond between Karen and me is proof of unity. We come from different worlds, yet we are stronger together. Imagine what your people could achieve if every clan worked as one. Fear will not protect you, but unity will." The leader's eyes softened slightly. "Your words carry truth. Courage and unity have always been powerful, but it is rare to see it demonstrated so clearly. You have survived attacks and shown strength, but also wisdom. Perhaps there is reason to listen." Over the next few hours, Karen and Amara explained what they had learned about the attackers, the energy they sought, and the unique connection between human and alien. The River Clan listened intently, realizing that their future depended on cooperation. By nightfall, the River Clan had agreed to join forces, offering scouts, supplies, and warriors to aid in the defense of Jaren. Encouraged by this success, Karen and Amara moved to the Forest Clan next. This clan was known for its knowledge of Jaren's wild terrain and ability to move silently through even the densest forests. The Forest Clan was more cautious and suspicious, but Amara's presence and her bond with Karen impressed them. They observed how the princess and human worked seamlessly together, communicating without words, anticipating each other's actions, and showing respect for life even in the midst of danger. "You have faced death and survived," the Forest Clan's leader said after a careful discussion. "Your bond is remarkable. It demonstrates courage, skill, and heart. If we join you, will you lead with these same values?" Amara nodded firmly. "Yes, together, we will protect Jaren. We will defend life, guide our people, and fight with courage and honor. We ask for loyalty not to a ruler alone, but to the survival of every living being on this planet." The Forest Clan agreed, impressed by her words and actions. Karen and Amara now had a growing coalition of warriors, scouts, and strategists, all ready to face the threat that had once seemed insurmountable. As the sun set, casting long shadows over the trees, Karen and Amara gathered their new allies. They began planning defenses, strategies, and patrols. Amara's enhanced senses and Karen's experience allowed them to anticipate threats, coordinate movements, and train the clans efficiently. Amara addressed the gathered clans. "Today, we stand together. Tomorrow, we prepare. Our strength comes not from numbers alone, but from unity, courage, and trust. We face an enemy that underestimates the power of heart and cooperation. Let them see that together, we are unstoppable." Karen added, "Remember, our bond shows what is possible. We are stronger together, and each of you brings your own strength, respect, trust, and courage will guide us. and together, we will ensure that Jaren remains free, safe, and protected." The clans cheered, their spirits lifted by the words and the example set by Amara and Kieran. For the first time in many cycles, hope spread through the forest and settlements. The bond between human and alien had not only saved a life, but had begun to unite a world. That night, Kieran and Amara sat together, reviewing plans for the coming days. They knew the attackers would not remain idle. Reinforcements would come, and the enemy would try to divide them. But the alliances they had forged, combined with the extraordinary bond they shared, gave them a strength that could not be measured. Amara looked at Kieran. "We have done more than survive. We have inspired unity. The clans believe in us because they see what we have proven. Courage, wisdom, and heart are more powerful than fear and force." Kieran nodded. "Yes, but we must remain vigilant. Every day will test us further. But if we face it together, we can overcome anything." Amara smiled, her eyes glowing with determination. "Then we face it together, always." The forest whispered around them, alive with movement and energy. The clans were united. The bond between human and alien was stronger than ever, and a new chapter for Jaren had begun. Together, Kieran and Amara were more than a warrior and a princess. They were a symbol of hope, unity, and the extraordinary potential of courage and heart. The night passed quietly, but the stars above seemed to shine brighter, as if recognizing the unity that had formed below. Kieran and Amara knew the challenges ahead would be greater than anything they had faced, but now they had allies, strategy, and the unbreakable bond that had changed everything. Jaren was no longer a world on the brink of destruction. With courage, unity, and trust, it had a chance to survive, thrive, and demonstrate that strength born from heart and cooperation was more powerful than any weapon. The sun rose over Jaren's force, casting light on a world that had begun to awaken with hope. Kieran and Amara stood atop a hill overlooking the valley where the enemy forces had gathered. Their united clans, River Clan, Forest Clan, and several smaller settlements, had positioned themselves strategically. Every warrior, scout, and archer moved with purpose, their spirits lifted by the courage and example of the human and alien partnership before them. Amara's lavender skin shimmered in the morning light, and her eyes held determination unlike anything Kieran had seen. The bond between them pulsed steadily, giving both of them clarity and strength. They could feel each other's heartbeat, thoughts, and resolve. It was more than connection, it was unity, and now it would be the deciding factor in the battle to come. Kieran addressed the clans, his voice firm and calm. "Today, we defend Jaren. The enemy believes they can divide us, use fear, and take what does not belong to them. But we have something they cannot understand: courage, unity, and trust. Remember what we have proven. Together, we are stronger than any force they may bring." Amara stepped forward, her voice carrying through the valley. "We fight not for power, but for life. We fight not for conquest, but for protection. Every clan here represents hope, courage, and heart. Today, we show the attackers that strength comes not from weapons alone, but from the unity of those who believe in each other." The warriors raised their weapons, the energy of resolve flowing through the valley. Kieran and Amara shared a glance, the bond between them stronger than ever. They did not need words. Every thought, every instinct, every strategy was shared instantly, and they knew what the other would do. The enemy moved into the valley, their formations precise, weapons charged, and eyes fixed on the human and princess. They underestimated the power of connection, unaware of the bond that had already given life, strength, and strategy to those who stood against them. The first clash came quickly. Scouts and archers from the clans engaged the enemy at the edges of the valley, drawing them in, slowing their advance. Kieran and Amara moved together, anticipating attacks and countering with fluid coordination. Amara's speed and strength were enhanced by the bond, and Kieran's experience allowed him to position her for maximum effect. A group of heavily armored enemies approached, intending to break through the center. Kieran moved forward to intercept, and Amara followed without hesitation. They were seamless, each movement complementing the other. Kieran deflected blows and redirected attacks, while Amara struck with precision, her enhanced awareness predicting every strike before it came. The clans watched, inspired. The bond between human and alien was evident, and it filled them with courage. They move as one, attacking strategically, defending their ground, and protecting each other. The enemy realized quickly that this was not a normal battle. Every attack they attempted was anticipated, countered, and turned against them. Kieran sensed an enemy leader attempting to flank their position. He whispered to Amara, and they moved simultaneously, cutting off the threat before it could strike. The bond allowed instant coordination, making them impossible to surprise. Amara's strength and Kieran's tactical skill created a force that the attackers could not overcome. As the battle raged, the energy from the enemy's operation pulsed faintly in the distance. Kieran and Amara both felt it. The attackers were using it to enhance themselves, but the bond between the human and princess amplified it in unexpected ways. Amara reached out, focusing on the energy with the bond as a conduit. The glow from her body intensified, spreading through the valley, and invigorating their allies. The attackers faltered, surprised by the sudden force. Kieran shouted, "Now, push forward. We have the advantage." The clans surged, united and fearless. Every strike, every movement, and every action was guided by courage, strategy, and the example set by Kieran and Amara. The attackers, though well-trained and equipped, could not overcome the coordinated force of determined hearts. Amara confronted the enemy leader directly. He wielded a strange weapon powered by the energy source, confident that it would overpower her. But the bond allowed Kieran to guide her movements, anticipate the enemy's strikes, and exploit weaknesses. She moved with fluid grace, disarming him and using his own momentum to pin him to the ground. Kieran approached the remaining forces. "They are falling back. Keep pressure. Do not give them a chance to regroup." The clans pressed the advantage, surrounding the remaining enemies and forcing their retreat. The energy operation was abandoned, and the enemy fled, leaving the valley in the hands of those who had fought not for conquest, but for protection. The silence that followed was profound. The clans looked around at each other, realizing what they had accomplished. They had faced a powerful enemy, survived, and emerged victorious. But more importantly, they had learned that unity, courage, and trust could overcome threats that seemed insurmountable. Amara turned to Kieran, her eyes filled with gratitude and respect. "We did it, together. We protected Jaren." Kieran smiled. "No, you did it. You led, inspired, and used the bond to guide everyone. I only stood beside you." Amara shook her head gently. "We did it together. The bond was not just between us, but with everyone here, every life protected, every warrior who fought. They were all part of it. This is what courage and unity can achieve." The clans gathered around, cheering for their leaders, but also recognizing the power of connection, the strength born of cooperation, and the extraordinary courage that had carried them through the battle. Kieran looked over the valley, the forest, and the people he had helped inspire. This is only the beginning. Jaren will need guidance, protection, and unity. But today, we have shown what is possible when courage meets heart. Amar nodded. "And we will continue. We will ensure every clan, every settlement, and every life on this planet knows hope, strength, and courage. We will lead with heart, and we will face any threat together." As the sun set over Jaren, casting a golden glow across the forests and valleys, Kieran and Amara stood together, their bond unbroken and stronger than ever. The clans gathered, united and hopeful. The human warrior and the alien princess had done more than survive. They had inspired a world, demonstrated the power of courage and unity, and shown that strength born of heart could surpass any force. The night was calm, the stars reflected in the river below, and the forest whispered its approval. Kieran and Amara had completed their journey, not just as warrior and princess, but as symbols of hope, unity, and extraordinary courage. Jaren was safe, not because of power alone, but because of the bond that had changed everything. And as they looked toward the horizon, Both knew that whatever challenges came next, they would face them together, guided by courage, heart, and the unbreakable connection that had proven itself. Beyond all reason, the battle was won, the alliance is strong, and the promise of a united Jaren alive. The human warrior and the alien princess had shown that heroism was not measured by strength alone, but by heart, unity, and the courage to stand together when the world seemed against them.